You are live today when a tragedy happened in Malaysia and also for overseas about such failure in our world. Stay tuned.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.
Thank you for staying with us. We get several reports across the whole world about building and structure failure that does not end well. In Malaysia, more specific in Kuala Terengganu, one of the local mosques named Masjid Binjai Kertas experienced collapsing of the whole roof. The occupant of the building say that they saw a piece of roof structure that stumbled into the floor before the whole roof was collapsed. And study shows that the possible causes of the structure is because the building was completed in 2008. So many says it is an old building. According to local authority JKR inspection, the roof does not have any problem with approval for the procedure. This comes to the contractor what it involved for the workmanship, and we can see all the structural element from above the ceiling level be collapsed and hanging, and it has poor insulation. Maybe there is a mistake on installing that contribute with the collapse. This is serious issue due to it is a building that people always walk in to perform their prayers. If it causes of poor workmanship, the contractor must take responsibility. Before we move on to the overseas cases about the failure, we also have another major problem for structure failure for the government building in Malaysia. We have our reporter at that site, is FAHMI. Please.
Thank you, Nadzmi, from the studio. So today, we are stepping out from the MCO to bring the look of this fascinating building that Malaysians call it as Velodrome Nasional Malaysia at Nilai Negeri Sembilan. Although this building looks astonishing and is equipped with more than 20 facilities, they seem very uncertain when the accident happened. On 18 June 2016, specifically at 3 PM local time, this RM18 million velodrome had collapsed. Luckily, no injuries or fatalities were reported during this incident. As we can see from this far, the two skylift machinery has been crushed by the structure or roof that has been collapsed. Although the project should be ready for 2017 SEA Games in August, the local authorities by JKR Forestry Department have investigated the main component of the structure, that is roof trusses, has been found totally collapsed. According of the local, the incident involved 7 frames falling out their position. By the report from local authorities, they stated that the main causes of this event is: first, the design was inadequate; second, the roof has not erected properly, resulting in misalignment; third, there is no quality control on the site; fourth, the material and the workmanship not in accordance with the specification; and last but not least, the alternative designs from the contractor were adopted without proper analysis.
Thank you so much, FAHMI, for the astonishing explanation. We're moving on to the overseas cases about this serious matter. First one we have at the site is at the Sampung, Korea. Yawusel, NAJMINABILA, and please.
Nadzmi, I am NAJMINABILA reporting from Seoul, Korea. Now I am standing right in front of one of the most beautiful and luxurious apartment in Gangnam. Little did we know, behind the beautiful and luxurious of this apartment, hidden an unforgettable tragedy which happened 25 years ago. The tragedy of Sampung department store. Even though this tragedy happened long time ago, it is still fresh in their mind as it caused a huge number of casualties. There are a total of 502 casualties and 1,445 people with non-fatal injuries. After the investigation, they found out that the chairman is at fault as he changed the blueprint of the building. Further investigation has been done focusing on structural failure. It is revealed that the building is built without emphasizing structural factor. They use substandard concrete mix of cement and seawater and poorly reinforced concrete steel. Other than that, they use incorrect techniques called flat slab construction, which does not use beam for support. Chairman of Sampung Group, Lee Jun, was found guilty and received a prison sentence of 10.5 years. I think that's all from me. Back to you, Nadzmi.
Thank you, NAJMINABILA. Again, also we have the overseas cases about the failure, structural failure of the building to begin with. It's large, so it's a genocide, I think. So we have FAUWAZ at our side. FAUWAZ, what happened?
I've heard about what happened at Korea, and the same building appeared here where another shopping mall at Prudence Ila 20 Zolitude Riga Latvia named Maxima Superstore Latvia. In Riga Latvia, this incident have killed 54 people and seems to be world headline at that time. 21st November 2013, when the building roof had totally collapsed after fire alarm went off, an announcement be made several minutes after, but security decided that it was a false alarm due to ongoing welding construction at the basement. Customer and staff inside were keep coming back to their store when it was announced that it was false alarm. However, all of those replies were in the opposite way, which is actually it is true tragedy. Besides, the construction process also took place in this horrific event is when mistakes were made when they construct at wrong location of the building material on the roof. And apart from that, there also the intensive exploitation of the store during the construction of the second stage. Therefore, the values on the material will fall, which means the quality on the material is not guaranteed. And yet, they also do the simultaneous execution of work with the work area adjacent to the building which produce high vibration. So the vibration that will make the building cannot withstand. In addition, the material is not quite good. That's all from me. My name is MOHD from RUSLAN and we will return to Nadzmi.
Okay, thank you FAUWAZ. So with all the design thank you FAUWAZ. So with all the design and such a failure, we need to discuss this even more. So we need to identify and why is this happening. And today we have two of our own guests inside this studio, inside the building. So the first one we have IRIN, building surveyor from UiTM Shah Alam. So IRIN, why this happened in the first place?
Okay Nadzmi, thank you in the first place because inviting me to this forum that has interesting topic. Firstly, we need to understand why this happened and maybe my friend over here, Rajino SYAHIDAH, can tell us about what we can make to prevent this thing happen occur in the first place. Structure and design failure is not a new story for us. It happened all the time, but this is a major and serious matter for us to bring in the front. Some of the cases is due to improper construction. That means that either the labor or the contractor did not follow the specification that has been approved by the local authority. We also have a poor installation that happened in the Masjid Binjai Kertas that in the end what happened, the roof collapsed and Alhamdulillah there are no casualties. Velodrome National Nilai, we also have a poor design of the structure roofing system. Second, do not comply with the installation procedure. Third, building material was not specific and caused to overloading. Fourth, lack of communication between parties concerned which lead to misunderstanding. That happened in the Velodrome National Nilai. Sampon Department Store, South Korea. The causes is low quality material such as poorly reinforced concrete that can cause to the structure failure. Second is incorrect application technique for the flat slab construction. This element is most important element in any building to support the load, and the element specification does not comply with the law regulation. Maximum Shopping Center, Riga, Latvia. Poor calculation of the building structure will affect the durability and the load of the whole building. Second is improper installation will affect the structure collapse. We could say that the structure failure is the is the one of the common problem in the construction industry. It is all a serious problem as it can cause a huge number of casualties, and it also can cause a huge loss of the company itself. There are a lot of seen and unseen factors contribute to this failure.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Now we know why these things occur in the first place. And we also want to know the clarification and justification on how we can prevent this genocide thing happening again. So today we have Roger, also professional during survey from UiTM Shah Alam. Please Roger, we need the justification.
Thank you, Nadzmi and IRIN. We have to look for many aspects if we want to prevent everything to happen. First of all, we need to check the responsibilities of parties involved. To avoid the same thing happens in the future, the professional workers such as the engineer, architect, and the quantity surveyor must take the design stage seriously and analyze all aspects structures of the building to make sure that the building safe for the occupants to stay. Moreover, we also need to take seriously about the maintenance and services. The maintenance and services for the building is very important to keep the building structure in the good condition. All the defects should get repaired after determining the root sources of the defect. Good maintenance may extend the life of the structure and make it more comfortable for the occupants of to using the building. And the aspect number 3 is the element specification according to the law regulation. Every element specification in the building needs to follow the law regulation to avoid any structural failures. According to the case study, there is a case study use the 60 cm in diameter of column, which is supposedly based on the regulation of specification. They must use 80 cm in diameter of a column. This situation is not following the regulation will affect the structure of a failure. And lastly, for the aspect number 4 is the using of a proper material. Every material that are using to construct a building need to be comply with the element and design itself. The contractor cannot simply using any material that are not suitable when construct a building. Plus, they cannot use a cheaper material to avoid losses. This action will cause the structural lifespan to be reduced. So as we can conclude, all these aspects is important, which is the responsibilities of party involved, the maintenance and services, the element specification according to the law and regulation, and also lastly, the using of a proper material. Lastly, we hope with all this clarification will have least accident, and we wish that all parties will follow the official law and standard. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Now we know how, why, and what do we have to do when these things happen, and how we want to prevent these things to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is proven to construct a huge and prestige building, you must follow all the predefined specifications to ensure the building is strong, solid enough to bear all of the load. So every person in charge, new construction must learn from these cases and avoid being greedy to save people and avoid this kind of tragedy. The conclusion that we can do and draw from this case, the accident that occurred on the roof collapse was a matter of concern, as it had grazed in 54 people at the same time. The negligence done during construction process of the building has made the structure on the roof cause disaster to the occupant. Various aspects that need to be considered: first, to prevent the occurrence of roof collapse or any collapse, which is we need to see what kind of structural engineer we choose and which kind of contractor do we choose. Do they have a good attitude and also honest in doing their job? we're committing any fraud in terms of material quality and the use of material for the building that will be constructed. Thank you guys for staying and stay tuned for the news tonight, and we hope that we can spread happiness across the world. That is how we make the world a better place.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.